is Ms. Salome Tumbadzi, a psychologist and lecturer at the Georgian Institute of Public Affairs, pursuing a PhD degree in Ivan Zakishvili Tbilisi State University. Did I say that correct?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let me just finish. Salome's research interest focuses on studying resilience. She examines the effectiveness of socio-emotional learning programs in promoting resilience and emotional well-being in students, particularly through iconic communication methods. It's all yours.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to participate in this conference. I will shortly start with the context in which I want to refer to resilience. It is the VUCA world context that Dr. Mayer has already described, but still I want to stress some of its aspects. So VUCA world stands for volatility, uncertainty, complexity, ambiguity, and hyperconnectivity. That leads to different psychological or physiological health issues. And so in order to build the resilience to a VUCA world, especially in case of children, educators, or their parents, it's important to have certain awareness about VUCA world and its effects. As well, I will focus during the presentation on improvement of positive parenting skills that help to build resilience, and the effectiveness of application of iconic communication in relationship to children. So as for the VUCA and its effects, I will not list all of the symptoms that are seen on the screen, but I can say that each of its aspects has a toll on our health. It starts from anxiety, it ends with information overload that can be caused by different elements of VUCA, and it can manifest itself in everything starting from the accelerated heart rate, ending with sleep disruptions and similar problems. As for hyperconnectivity and effects of the other elements, we generally notice that people are less involved in social interactions due to over-dependence on computer use, which affects our brains, which affects the way we interact with people. So instead of, for example, being socially active or helpful to others, that benefits our mental health in the long run, people tend to self-isolate and to be in external locus of control, as you can see on the images presented. And one of the goals is, in order to increase the resilience of individuals, is to return them to the internal locus of control state through positive communication. And generally, when talking about the crisis or adversities in people's lives, it's very important to focus on their attention on solution rather than the problem, because they end up eventually where they look. And so the question itself, the focus on what will they do when the crisis is over, broadens their perspective. It helps to get out of the tunnel vision effect and to have a sense of a choice, which eventually increases this internal locus of control and overall resilience. As for the preparedness to VUCA and to building resilience, in case of children who are most vulnerable in this case, it's important to encourage their emotional expression, to build strong connections, to teach them problem-solving skills. And educators and parents can play a key role in this case because they have the major effect on child's development. So educators can develop adaptive strategies, foster supportive classroom environments, and promote resilience building activities that goes beyond academic curriculum. As for parents, they can model resilience, and as you know, children mostly learn from modeling and from watching their parents' behavior rather than hearing the words or instructions on what or how they have to do. So it's important for parents to help their children to maintain consistent routines, to teach them coping mechanisms, and educate children about handling uncertainty and stress positively. As for positive parenting skills, as positive parenting trainer, I can say that it's very important to understand the key role and the possible negative effects that parents and educators might cause in case they are not aware of the basic strategies of positive parenting. It's important to understand that parental stress can influence children as they absorb their emotions, and during the crisis, the emotional toll on children can be even higher if parents or educators aren't able to manage their own stressors. So in times of crisis, attachments can be disrupted, and exposure to traumatic events can cause depression and anxiety from the early age that affects the future of the child. And so the earlier the interventions are used, the better for the long-term results to avoid psychological issues, as children solely rely on adult care, on their empathy, on their attention, and they experience things a bit differently than adults. So I want to pay your attention on two types of stress in this case. So one is manageable stress, when we just have increase in our stress hormones and eventually they get extinguished. And on the other hand, we have toxic stress and traumatic stress that the symptoms of which remain even after the event is over. So to understand how toxic stress influences child's brain, especially at young age, and in case the child doesn't get sufficient attention or affection or care from the adults, in this case, you can see that synapses in brain can get destroyed, and every part of the brain responsible for different aspects of child's development can be disrupted. And so generally, parental stress can also influence child's behavior and cause aggressive behavior or depression or distress symptoms. That's why it's very important to focus on management of adult stress first of all. After that, it is important to understand what does child really need, and it's not just shelter, food, and clothes, for example, in times of crisis. It is important to help them try to make sense of what is happening around them, to help them to express their feelings, even if the conversations might be hard. They want to feel heard, they want to feel supported, they want to have skills to cope and to be resilient. They need to maintain the routine as much as possible. They need to play, to sleep, communicate with their peers, to help other people, to communicate with animals, pets, and nature. And so if their stress symptoms and their needs are ignored, children end up in vicious cycles that can start with nightmares, have some short-term reliefs, but again, return to some mental health or physical health issues. So basically, effective parenting or teaching should be focused on the golden rule of positive parenting, which is understanding that children need adult attention and affection. They need their lives to be predictable. That's why they need to return to daily routines even after the crisis. They need stimulating environments that will keep them active and educated, and most of all, they need affection to feel it through the touch, to feel it through the attention of adults. The key role in improving and building the resilience of the child is showing them empathy, because it helps them to feel safe and protected. It feels them important. It makes them feel important, and also they become more sensitive to the needs of other people. And even though it seems easy, in reality, it's very hard to follow through the 4 steps of empathetic communication, but it shows to be very important in building the resilience in children. It is identifying child's feelings, determining the reason behind them, validating and honoring those feelings, even if they are negative, instead of trying to argue against them, and also helping children to cope with those, to take action and find appropriate solution to their problems. As for iconic communication, it should be noted that its application can be of grand importance, as children don't understand some of the concepts. They cannot retain the information that oftentimes adults try to give them through explanation or lecturing. That's why, based on Pavio's dual coding theory, we retain the information and understand information the best whenever the verbal information, the auditory information is combined with visual information. In this case, icons or pictures. So we are in our Roswell VUCA group, we are working on developing language of resilience and believe that iconic communication is the best way to effectively communicate because it avoids confusion, it increases clarity and retention, and sometimes one image is better than 1,000 words. So here on screen, you can see some of the evoke icons related to resilience that are presented to children of different age or adults of different age groups. And currently I'm working on my PhD thesis in order to validate the use of iconic communication for educators beyond child groups, but also to youth of 18-23 years, focusing on neuroscience and positive communication and holistic mind and body approach. So in conclusion, I want to sum all of this up. And so for positive parenting during crisis, for increasing resilience in children, it is important to have awareness on impact of VUCA that can deepen our understanding of various negative symptoms. Also, positive parenting can be applied by both teachers and parents to increase resilience in children of different age groups, as well as iconic communication seems to be very effective and promising tool in order to facilitate absorption of knowledge and skills of social emotional resilience and to contribute to its eventual increase. Thank you for your attention. And if you have any questions.
Will be later for the end.
Yeah. Okay,
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Pardon me. And particularly thank you for the research that you're doing, because I think it will bear wonderful fruit. Thank you so much.
Thank you.